That is right. You heard the people on that little announcement tell you the truth. And the truth is today is indeed Tuesday. It is August 23rd. It is 8 a.m. And this is the Morning Buzz, everyone. What a beautiful time to be alive. The outdoors looks disgusting, but hey, we're breathing, we're eating, we're drinking water, and that means it could be a lot worse than what it is. And now I am joined today by Lana, of course, our Tuesday extraordinaire, our news reporter coming to you live from 90.3 WMSE Upper Montclair. And it's me, Isaiah. And you're probably wondering, where is the other person that's normally here? Well, Cam is out there doing football things, and someone else was supposed to fill in today. And that man is not here. Round of applause for that person not being here. Hey, we appreciate it. Listen, we got a great show lined up for you today. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, a lot of interesting things. Something will make you smile, something to make you cry. I don't know about the crying part, but hey, a lot of things have been going on in the world, Lana, and I think you can give us a quick update about what that is.
Of course. So in national news, Trump's legal team is asking for a quote-unquote special master to go through the Mar-a-Lago evidence. Trump has asked for a third-party attorney, also known as the special master, to oversee the review of the evidence gathered and for the judge to pause federal investigators' work until review is done. Quotes, the August 8th search warrant at Mar-a-Lago was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of a probable cause. The department is aware of this evening's notion. The United States will file its response in court. Spoken by Justice Department Anthony Coley. In state news, a Jersey City middle schooler has found a way to kill spotted lanternflies. 8th grader at Milan Zoo has found that the invasive species of fly has small hairs on their wings that make it easier for them to sense when they are about to be squished. Zoo hypothesized that by stepping on the fly's head will more likely kill them than stepping on their bodies. Her data came back with 84% of flies who were hit on the head died compared to 40% who were hit on their bodies. In local news, the Montclair Local announced yesterday that Carla Baranukis has been appointed as their new editor-in-chief. Baranukis spent over 20 years at the New York Times, as well as teaching at the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. She's also known for working as the editor for The Record, NorthJersey.com, and teaching at Rutgers University in Newark. Quote, the expertise and commitment to local journalism that Carla brings is amazing, said Ollie Hatsfield, chair of Montclair Local Board of Trustees. We are excited that her leadership will help the local continue to serve the Montclair community. As for the weather today, it is currently 70 degrees and foggy with a high of 84 and a low of 70. With humidity at 97% and good air quality at 44. It is supposed to rain, however, between 3 to 4 and then again at 6.
Whack, Lana, whack. Great news report. As always, thank you very much. Very quickly, though, when you started off your state news, a Jersey City middle schooler has found a way to kill. I checked out and I was like, what in the world is this? What is this world coming to? Why are middle schoolers killing people now? I was just imagining worst scenario possible. But apparently, that kid's doing some good things because those lantern flies,
they're everywhere.
You're invasive here, man. I don't like it. Also, the fog, not a fan of. And the rain needed, not a fan of it affecting my morale throughout the day. Thank you very much.
I get that. I gotta work today outside, so I don't appreciate the rain.
Definitely bring the umbrellas today. Definitely bring the rain jackets, ponchos, rain shoes. I don't know what other rain gear to talk about. Let's get into sports really quick as the Mets took on the Yankees last night, which means it's a battle of New York. And the Yankees seem to have had their early season groove back as they beat the Mets 4-2. And now we'll go to some Premier League action as Manchester United actually won a game, everyone. They took on Liverpool last night and won 2-1 with Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford scoring the goals for the team. And, of course, Mohamed Salah scoring for Liverpool. And now the Carolina Panthers officially named Baker Mayfield their starting quarterback for the regular season. But the talk of the town last night was indeed the return of Monday Night Football, which means a couple things. Pumpkin spice is probably nearing the corner.
Yeah.
People are wearing their Ugg boots.
Woo.
Flannels are back on. Halloween people are living loud and proud. And that is all the time now. Sad to say the summer's gone and the NFL is back. But hey, at least the NFL is back, you know? But I mean, it's preseason. So is it really even back? Kind of, but not really. But there actually was a game as the New York Jets took on the Atlanta Falcons in week 2 of the preseason. The first team for Atlanta looks sharp as Marcus Mariota hopes to have a career resurgence in Atlanta. In a couple of drives, the former second overall pick went 6 of 10 passing with a touchdown to Alamedi Zacchaeus. Meanwhile, for the Jets, Joe Flacco did not play and Mike White started for them. The game was very sloppy and had tons of penalties as, rain was coming down last night. It was very rainy. Not ideal for a football game, which I believe every stadium should have a dome. Why do we have to force people to be outside when it's not good weather? I saw like 5 fans at MetLife, and MetLife's pretty big, everyone. But why do that to yourself? Put it on a dome, man. You got all this money. You're already spending hundreds of millions, close to billions of dollars on these stadiums. Put a roof on it. Make it a dual roof. You could open it or you could close it. I can't imagine it's that hard if you're already putting that much money into it.
You know what? That actually sounds like a really good idea. Also, add air conditioning.
Yes,
Really
it's just smart, man. Like, who wants to sit out in pouring rain in the middle of August at nighttime in New Jersey? It's just not a good time, man.
It worked for the Astrodome in Texas.
Yeah,
Astrodome.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium does that. The stadium in Dallas, pretty sure, does that. Put a dome on it, people. Anyways, back to the game. At halftime, it was 16-3 in favor of the Falcons. But then the Jets led a second half resurgence, scoring 21 unanswered, and won the game 24-16. Woo! Go Jets! I
Sports
can't.
ball.
Lana, your upcoming thoughts on the season for the New York Jets? Go. Yep, and we're gonna talk some COVID news. The pure just nothingness. Let's talk about COVID, everyone. Talk about a COVID icon.
Ooh.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the face of COVID. The man who told us to mask up. The man who said, hey, this is pretty bad, guys. The man who made millions of runs on live television to warn us that COVID is indeed a serious thing. It is indeed pretty dangerous. The Fauci himself has announced his retirement, everyone. He announced on Monday that he will leave federal government in December after more than 5 decades of work. Fauci is the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and is also the chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden. Fauci gave us a glimpse of his mindset heading into retirement, telling AP News, quote, I've gone into this campus, into these labs, and into the hospital every day, including most weekends, for 54 years. The idea of walking away from it obviously is bittersweet. End quote. The 81-year-old Fauci called his roles the honor of a lifetime, but said it was time to pursue his next chapter of his career. During his time, given many talks to the nation about numerous outbreaks, including HIV and AIDS, SARS, the pandemic flu, Ebola, and even the 2001 anthrax attacks. He was thrusted into the limelight during the height of the pandemic and used as a political tool, by both sides. It was a bit of a mess during that time. But hey, great time to retire. 81 years old. Hey, that's a run, man. 54 years. We appreciate what you did. It was a crazy time to be alive. I can't imagine anyone would ever be like amazing at that job. Because science was changing, man. It was a crazy time to be alive. At one point, people were like lysoling their bodies upon entering their homes. There was a lot of weird things going on. I think we got through it, but every time I thought Uncle COVID came back, man, came knocking on the door. It's like, ahem. But yeah, it's very interesting. That's a long career to have once again. So the Fauci, we appreciate what you did. 54 years of service. That's he must have really loved that, huh?
He must have, yeah. This is a long-deserved retirement, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you're 81, I think you're more than allowed to go.
And like he said, like he spent like almost every day in a hospital.
Mhm.
I don't know, like I couldn't imagine being a doctor or a nurse. I think I would just start crying.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Mhm.
I don't know how you do it. Hats off to you. I could never.
Yeah, it really takes a special kind of human being to kind of take on these kind of roles. But I'm interested to see who becomes that next person in line. I'm not sure if they've announced it yet. We'll see what happens within that scenario. But I wonder what he does. What's his pivot move? If is he gonna have like a podcast? Is it gonna be
Ooh.
Fauci on the radio? Fauci with iHeartRadio exclusive shows in the mornings where he just talks about diseases. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm curious. Maybe he actually just retires, lives somewhere, and just enjoys the rest of his life, or does he kind of take that media role? Because I don't know. I imagine all those media hits that he was doing, especially during the COVID pandemic. Maybe he starts to like it. What if he becomes like a CNN analyst or something?
Maybe. I mean, he ends his quote by saying to pursue the next chapter of my
I know,
career.
which
So,
makes it seem like he's not like retired. Like
yeah.
he's done with this part of his job, but there's definitely going to be something in the future that he probably chases, I think. Which I don't know. My predictions for Dr. Fauci is he takes a media role somewhere. Lana, what do you think?
I
What
think
is
I
prediction?
agree with that prediction,
Mhm.
honestly. Like I think like being on the media in some sort is going to be where he
I
might
think
go.
he kind of liked it. I think he enjoyed the little bit of fandom. He's probably signing babies' foreheads, Fauci on there. It's like, hey, I am the MVP. I helped you guys. Remember that. But hey, I hope we never actually have to hear from anyone being part of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases or the chief medical advisor to any president, because that means nothing bad is going on. I think that's a perfect time to be alive is when we don't hear from people like this. Like, we don't have to hear any news coming out of the CDC for the next 60 years. I would consider that a win. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that, man.
I'm cool with that too.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to our next story. Not a fun one. Definitely not a fun one. Police brutality strikes yet again as 2 Crawford County sheriff deputies and 1 Mulberry police officer were suspended, and state police launched an investigation after a video posted on social media showed 2 of them beating a suspect while a 3rd officer held him to the ground. The U.S. Justice Department Civil Rights Division is also set to conduct an investigation separate from the state police. The officers were responding to a report of a man making threats outside of a convenience store over the weekend in a small town of Mulberry. The video shows 1 officer punching the suspect with a clenched fist, while the other one can be seen hitting the man with his knee multiple times. The 3rd officer also holds him against the pavement. At one point, an officer was smashing the victim's head into the ground. In the video recorded from a car nearby, someone yells at the officers to stop hitting the man in the head. 2 of the officers then yell at the person recording the video, as it looks like one officer was holding something and pointing it to the direction of the person recording. It was a bit blurry, so you can't just assume that it is something, because that's irresponsible. State police also identified the suspect as Randall Worcester, who is 27, from Goose Creek, South Carolina. He was taken to a hospital, then released and booked into Van Buren County Jail on multiple charges, including second-degree battery, resisting arrest, making terroristic threats. That's all according to state police. Worcester was released on Monday on a $15,000 bond. When asked how he's feeling, he said he was all right. An attorney who escorted him from the jail declined to comment on his behalf, as Worcester was pushing a bicycle after he left the jail. Now, Lana, are you familiar with this story going on?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I saw the video on
Mhm.
TikTok and it was pretty horrifying.
It was definitely a rough one to look at. It was kind of hard. It was not even kind of, it was very hard to watch that with the just the pure aggression that those officers were using.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because one, it looked very bad. Like, it didn't look good at all. But I'm not trying to defend the officers here. What they did was very bad. But just like the outlining factor that he was making terroristic threats at this convenience store, he was doing all these things that made him seem like a threat. Like, I'm not surprised at all, but the officers used that kind of force. I think they went too far with the force. Obviously, I mean, you had 3 people. There was no need at all to start punching him like that, or to start slamming his head into the ground like that. You could have easily just handcuffed him. You have 3 people. It could have been done like that. I don't understand why they felt the need to just UFC MMA style fight this guy 3-on-1. That was very disturbing. And yeah, I believe they, they're suspended now, but that seems like a fireable offense to me. Like I get that he was a dangerous threat, but that was a wild, aggressive use of force right there.
There was a way to handle that, and that was not the way to handle that.
Not at all. Not at all. Um, it's interesting though this time though, because a lot of times when you hear police brutality stories like this, there's a kind of a backtone of racism within it. Like it's always white officers on someone that's black or brown. And in this case, it was 3 white officers and a white man. So it's definitely I don't know. I'm trying not to say glad, but it's like I guess so that we don't have to talk about the like a racial issue within the story itself too.
Yeah.
To I guess find some weird silver lining in this story. But yeah, I don't know. I think just the whole tone of this one's a little different because he was kind of already doing criminal activities, I guess. But yeah, their use of excessive force was unnecessary and unwarranted.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that this man should be arrested, but they didn't need to like pin him to the ground and slam his head into the concrete. That's much.
It definitely was a lot. And I'm sure that's going to be a situation that's probably going to be monitored on all your news stations for a while until they make a verdict with other investigations, the 2 of them that are going on. But yeah, for now they'll stay suspended. And I don't know. When I hear stories like this, I always have this strange feeling that they'll just be like a temporary suspension, and then they'll probably be back on the force anytime soon.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I get that feeling too when I hear suspension. Then it's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
a
it's
month
just
or 2, and then they're like,
at least it wasn't like he's on paid leave. Because every time I imagine paid leave, it's like, oh, he took a vacation. It's like he's probably somewhere nice, enjoying the weather. He's got his albums playing on Spotify, sipping a colada or something. I don't like that's what I imagined. So suspension sounds more dangerous, and it's like he's thinking about what he did that was wrong.
Yeah, I just think about like being told to go home from school.
Yeah.
And you still have to do all that work, and your parents are mad at you.
Like, what did I do, Mom? I didn't do anything. Did you ever get suspended?
I did not.
I'm not surprised. I didn't get suspended either. I was in the principal's office quite a few times. Had some beef with one of my teachers, but hey, we don't gotta talk about that. That's in the past.
I got detention a couple times.
You did? What'd you do?
It was so my school was very weird. They were very like keen on having you keep your ID on you, and my ID fell off my lanyard because there was full of holes.
And they suspended you?
They didn't suspend me for it. They just gave me a detention for it.
They gave you a detention for your ID breaking?
Yeah. I then found it, and then they told me I could, because like I kind of lost it because I couldn't find it, and it fell into a book, and I found it, and then they were like, okay, you can go. Middle school. Woo!
Were you in like a private school?
No, this is a public school.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow, that is shocking. I don't even know how to respond to that one. Yeah, either way, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some more stuff here on the Morning Buzz. Not sure how to transition out of that story. That is wild.
Yeah.
Be safe. Don't get suspended, I guess. All right.
Keep your ID on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like
And we are back here on the Morning Buzz. And of course, if it is me here, I'm probably playing Bad Bunny. But anyways, we have something very exciting. Breaking news coming to you live from WMSC itself, the studio. Groundbreaking news. Huge alert. This is a game changer. Coming to you live from his kitchen again. Coming to you live with his hat on in the middle of his kitchen, not the normal way. His hat is backwards today. JT is here.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, I unmuted you too. That was great. Hey.
I'm so proud of you, Isaias.
Hey, JT. We're glad to have you. Very quickly, you want to explain to the people why you weren't here for the beginning of the show?
Okay, so I agreed to pick up the co-hosting position today, and work got off later. I didn't get in my house till 3 a.m. So naturally, I face planted on my couch instead of my bed. I woke up at 8 a.m. on the dot to get ready for work today, and I wake up, and the first thing I see is, "Hey, sir, you awake?" from Isaias. And it took me a second to click, and I was like, "Oh,
like,
word I can't say on air." So I was like, I didn't even know whether or not it was worth it, but now I was like, nah, I left them hanging. So I asked Isaiah, he was like, yeah, just come back after the break. So now I'm here, ready to get the bit.
Yes, sir. JT's back and just in time so we could talk about the Biden administration, as he's been hitting an announcement on student loan cancellation for weeks. And with less than 2 weeks to go before people must begin repaying their loans, many Americans are getting antsy. Now, according to CNBC, White House officials are closing in on canceling $10,000 in student debt for all borrowers who earn either less than $125,000 or $150,000 per year. The department's repayment freeze, which was first enacted in March 2020, has been extended 4 times and is officially set to end August 31st. As we know, August 31st is a date that many people are waiting to hear from. Now, U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said that Americans can expect a decision from the administration within the next week or so. And Cardona believes that August 31st is the date that many people have their eyes on. And the Biden administration has already canceled more student loan debt than any other administration in U.S. history, forgiving nearly $32 billion in loans, including $13 billion for defrauded borrowers. And according to the Federal Reserve, more than 40 million Americans are saddled with student loan debt. If the Biden administration chooses to cancel $10,000 in loan per borrower without restrictions on who receives such relief, it would eliminate the entire balance for about, get this, 11.8 million borrowers and wipe out a total of $321 billion of federal student loans. Woo-wee, that's a lot of big time numbers. Those are numbers that I'll probably never amass to at that point, because we $321 billion. That's crazy. This is a very interesting story to monitor because, yet again, we are all students here. We know people that have taken out loans, or you are the person that has taken out loans. So I'm very curious to see if this does go in action. That will help a brother out. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, you wanna help me out? And my thing is this. When it comes to college education, everyone should have access to college education here in this country. It should be that's an easy conversation. I think all public colleges, like a Montclair State, like other public schools or public universities, this is not a private school, everyone. It should be affordable. It should be easily affordable. You should be able to go with no problems at all. Like, it should just be easy. Now, if you're talking about private schools, like if you're going to Harvard, go ahead. You could pay for that because that's a private institution. Now, we're talking about public schools. I think everyone should have the affordability and the it should be easy. You know, we're spending hundreds of $billions on war efforts, but yet again, we can't even give the money to our own people to afford next level education. Now, hopefully we have a good result within this. I hope that the student loans are eliminated, and that's where I feel at this situation. Now, I'll give it to JT because I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, does it have to pass through the Senate or whoever has to pass through? Doesn't it have to be like a decision made by both Democrats and Republicans?
Now we'll say it's up to Biden.
Because I was going to say, in that case, there's always going to be certain people who believe in the suffering of their fellow man.
Mm.
And it's I see arguments all the time, and I personally usually I can see both sides of an argument, even to more of the more sensitive political debates. But this is one that I feel like even the other side of the argument, I flat out can't see. The only part of it that I can understand is the question, where does that money come from? Well, okay, we dredge that money up for other things now. I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, they're all like, people should only go to schools they can afford. I'm sorry. Well, personally, in my case, the community college down the street wasn't even an option using that logic. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was like, I'm taking out loans wherever I go. I might as well go to a school I could actually get what I need out of than settle for something just because it's cheap. Because let's face it, no college is cheap for certain people.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though is you brought that up very quickly is how people will say, well, we don't have the money for that. Which I find mind-blowing because conveniently we can get money to help Ukraine. Once again, I think that is a good thing. I think we should be able to support Ukraine and their battles because what's going on there is very unjust. Now, the fact that we can get billions of dollars seemingly out of the blue, there's like this random reserve where they're like, well, if it's on war, we can spend it. Now, when it comes to people having access to food, when it comes to people having a better education to further help their career in the future, when it just comes to people having a home over their head, that's where our own government officials draw the line. They're like, you know what? Let's not help our own people because having people on the streets, having people struggle day to day, day to night, year to year is better, apparently. It makes them tougher. But, let's give people some missiles. It's just, I
I
don't
think
understand
that
why we can't just magically make money appear in this situation or magically help people go to the colleges that they've always wanted to go. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think that the whole sending money to Ukraine thing, it's I think that was an example of the government kind of falling into the gen pop. And what I mean by that is when Russia and Ukraine first started their little cat fight, um, everybody, it was like the topic everywhere. And you were not turning your head an inch without seeing a headline somewhere. Matter of fact, the only time I saw a news site that wasn't discussing Ukraine was when I walked through the buildings of SCM and the other two news sites were reporting on Ukraine, and Fox News was reporting on the rise of Trump supporters in the past year, but that was another story. But that's the only time I had seen them not reporting Ukraine. So I think what ended up happening was the government felt a compelling need to show that they were doing something. Sometimes the government will show they're doing something while simultaneously not doing anything at all. And I think that was one of those occasions where everybody was all like, well, America, you need to do something. You're the most powerful country in the world. And Biden was like, let's throw money at them.
Well, I mean, they're still throwing money. They're still spending a lot of money, actually. More billions of dollars, more resources. Um, and to be fair, I guess, is America's not the only one sending them money either. A lot of European nations have also pitched in with money and all that stuff. But once again, man, this story is just very frustrating, and it reminds you that the people that we elect, the people that we put in charge that are supposed to look for us, do not give a single grain of care about us as they continue to just rake in the profits, enjoy that money, enjoy those checks that they get, while we have to bust around, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, struggle day in and day out, little no sleep, and that's the reward that we get from our from our own people. Now, very quickly, Lana, how do you feel about the situation? Are you hopeful? Are you excited? Are you kind of skeptical? What do you think?
Well, I'm a little skeptical about it. Uh, I'm taking in like what all you guys said. They are throwing money at other problems that do need money, but it doesn't really seem like, I feel like they're gonna think that like, oh, we've done enough for student debt. This is the cutoff now.
Mm.
We're not gonna do any more. it's all like institutionalized. They do want their money back. So at some point.
What a shame. What a shame, Lana.
I'd like to have hopes that they would.
Come on, have some hope. Bring some yeah, good times. Yeah.
But I'm trying to be realistic.
Yeah. Hey, you know what is also pretty realistic? That at some point this week, I'm probably just gonna sit down, enjoy the rest of my time off from classes, maybe watch a show, maybe turn on the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC. I don't have 2 out of 3 of those, but I'll say it for the fun of this segment. Lana, let's kick it back a little bit. What do we got this week?
So we're actually starting off with a new TV show. House of Dragon comes out on Sunday for HBO Max. It is not currently rated. Based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, the series set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones tells the story of the House of Terrigen.
Lana.
Yeah.
That's already out.
Is it?
Yeah, it came out yesterday or 2 days ago.
Then
Unbelievable. Your sources have lied to you.
My source
You just got
Get it together,
onioned.
Lana.
Oh
no.
my god. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have to officially part ways with Lana today. She is now officially fired. It was a great run. Really real stellar run, actually.
I need a new source now.
We'll write you a recommendation letter, though.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, I do got you, Lana, though, because listen very quickly about the Game of Thrones prequel. It is set about 200 years before the previous series and focuses on the Targaryen family, Lana. And
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't watch it either. Mom, huge fan. Brother, huge fan. I think this one I might give a shot, but we'll talk about it in that 1 second. The show drew nearly 10 million viewers across all platforms in the United States on its debut. The House of the Dragon also brought the largest single night audience for HBO since the series finale of its parent show, Game of Thrones, obviously, which drew 19.3 million viewers in May of 2019. The best single nightly tally since that season 2 finale of Euphoria in February, which had 6.6 million cross-platform viewers. House of Dragon also eclipsed the audience for the series debut of Game of Thrones, which was 2.22 million same-day viewers, according to Nielsen in 2011. That's your Game of Thrones update.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But anyways, I think I might give this one a shot because I tried watching the other one, but it was like 4 years after the season finale. So I was kind of already out of date with it. No one's really talking about it. So it's like, maybe I'll just wait. But yeah, it's a big commitment. That's a lot of episodes to catch up on. So maybe I'll start with this series. JT, you a Game of Thrones kind of guy?
No, I never really got into it.
Mm.
I remember people saying, "Yeah, you should get into it. Sounds really up your alley." Because I was at the Harry Potter and whatnot, but I just didn't see the connect. I was in the fantasy aspect, and I might have given 1 episode a chance, and it just didn't. It didn't capture me. You know, I just wasn't hooked. I wasn't cuffed into it. So I was like, you know what? I'll sit this fandom out. Y'all can have fun, warlords and whatnot.
That's a great title for a new show, Warlords and whatnot.
That actually does sound like an amazing title.
Yeah. Lana, what else we got this week though?
So we have Samaritan, which comes out on Friday in theaters and is rated PG-13. 13-year-old Sam Cleary, played by Javon Wana Walton, suspects that his mysterious and reclusive neighbor, Mr. Smith, played by Sylvester Stallone, is actually a legend in hiding in plain sight. 20 years ago, Granite City's superpowered vigilante Samaritan was reported dead after a fiery warehouse battle with his rival Nemesis. Most believe Samaritan perished in the fire, but some in the city, like Sam, have hope that he is still alive. With crime on the rise and the city on the brink of chaos, Sam makes it his mission to coax his neighbor out of hiding to save the city from ruin.
Oh wow. Hey, shout out to Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
still acting.
He is.
He's gotta be in his he's 76.
Wow.
Sheesh. And it seems like this is probably more of an action-based movie as it normally is. So 76-year-old still moving around like it's nothing, man. Good for you, Sylvester Stallone. Really great job with the Rocky, I guess. Creed 1 still one of the best movies I've ever seen. And yeah. I don't know. This one is very enticing to me. It does not seem like a theater movie. That's surprising.
Yeah.
But I guess, Sylvester Stallone still draws people?
Probably.
Last
Yeah.
thing that I saw him in was Guardians 2.
Guardians too?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You don't remember that one?
Oh yeah, he was in that.
That's the
That's
last
crazy.
man.
Huh.
Oh.
Well, hey.
Good
At
for
least
I
he
used
still
to
got
wonder.
roles.
I forgot he was in that, and I used to wonder. It was funny. I'm like, I'm surprised they never wrote Sylvester Stallone into the universe. And then I rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I was like, oh, they did. They gave him
They
a walk-on
they
role.
did. Did he die? Is he still alive in that?
Well,
World?
Spoiler alert.
no. Like his role was so like minute. He was like Yondu's old mentor that like disowned him and then re-owned him when Yondu died at the end. It was like, huh.
All right. Well, seems like
It
a
just-
Marvel move right there.
Well, we got one more. Me Time is rated R and comes out on Friday for Netflix. It is a comedy starring Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart. Once a stay-at-home dad finds himself with some me time for the first time in 10 years while his wife and kids are away, he reconnects with his former best friend for a wild weekend that nearly upends his life.
Oh. You know what? I enjoy Kevin Hart. I like me some Kevin Hart stuff. Mark Wahlberg's always good. And I can imagine this is gonna be like a decently funny movie. Yeah.
If you like need a laugh, I
Mhm.
think this one would be.
I think you could always use a laugh, you know? This could be like a movie you put on a random day where you're just chilling and you enjoy the ride. Like it's not gonna be like some artsy film where everyone's like, well, if you analyze the third scene at the 13-minute mark, Mark Wahlberg hints that in the future that his relationship with Kevin Hart is an interesting dynamic that plays on a double entendre. Listen, Lana, I get that you're a film major, but some of y'all people are the absolute worst human beings on this planet.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm aware.
Yeah, you got beef with some film majors, Lana? It's okay. You don't have to name them, but just in general. You ever just like, I do not like you.
I mean, not really. I'm more just intimidated by them.
Oh, okay. I had this one class. It was back in Zoom University, and it was a film analysis class, I think. And there was a couple interesting people in that class where I thought for a second, it's like, I would hate to spend like 5 minutes with you, man. You seem like a terrible person to be around by how you're analyzing this movie.
It's kind of like seeing that if you're a film major, you have to have like some sort of insanity.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense. But so like there's cool insanity, you know, like Aiden Ping, absolute insane human being.
That's true.
But he's a great guy. There's a couple people where they're insane. I'm like, I don't trust you.
Am I one of those people, Isaias?
No, I got no problem with you, JT. You're quite swell human.
Am I cool insane?
Yeah, Lana, you two are great film majors. You're breaking barriers by that.
Okay, but Lana, you're not insane. You're very tame and you're very down.
Lana has said some wild stuff on here. She at
No,
one point
we
said
did that to her.
No. This was very early on, JT, where no one even asked. She said, I would set myself on fire for my boyfriend. So that level of insanity, man, there was no one asked, would you set yourself on fire? She openly was like, I'll do it right now. So yeah, Lana's always been insane.
Y'all were talking about Bridgerton, were you not? And the term burn for you popped up.
No, this was live on the buzz. This was like a random
JT, I
8:45 moment.
appreciate you trying to help, but Vicky's right.
Yeah.
I forget what we were talking about. Something with fire, but
it was probably like a Florida man that did something crazy, and then we started talking about what you would do for like a loved one or something. I don't know. Either way, Lana just went for it, and that was one of my favorite moments that I've ever been a part of. Now, you know what? Also, I love playing video games from time to time, Lana. And you got some very interesting ones.
Yeah, I got a couple. Pac-Man World Repack.
Wow.
Comes out Friday for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Pac-Man arrives home on his birthday to find the ghosts have kidnapped his family and ruined his party. Off to the rescue, Pac-Man sets out to Ghost Island.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna cut. This show's done. This is wild. That is the most ridiculous name for a show or game.
Yeah.
They put zero effort into that. Also, I didn't know that Pac-Man had a birthday, nor did I know that he had like a home.
I didn't know he had a
Why would
family.
Yeah, this is all just very groundbreaking news.
But why would he not? Did y'all not grow up seeing him come out of his house into the game sphere that we played with?
Is that his house?
Yes.
I thought he just appeared.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does that mean
come
like
on.
his house teleports then? Because once you beat that first level, you go to another level.
He goes to other houses.
Nah. See, nah, your theory's wrong. That's not his house. That's like he teleports there. Listen, there's a lot of unexplained things. I can't wait for the Netflix cinematic universe of
Explain
Pac-Man.
it all for us, though.
You're right.
Would you play this game, JT?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm bored.
What about you, Lana? Are you gonna buy
Why would I-
Pac-Man repack?
I wouldn't buy it, but if somebody had it, on their system, I would try it.
Oh
Pac-Man
boy.
But I don't want to spend money on it. I don't think.
It looks like it's open world. Oh my god, it's open
Yeah.
world. What is this?
And it's supposedly like I did a little research on it. It is like taking like elements of like previous Pac-Man games.
What in the world? There's a Pac-Man dog, a Pac-Man baby, a Pac-Man middle-aged woman, and a Pac-Man grandpa. This is absurd, man. What are we doing?
You never played with the Pac-Man lady? It was literally just Pac-Man.
No, Miss Pac-Man
Oh,
makes sense. The rest of this is out of control right now.
That's how I feel with Rocky and his family.
Oh man. Jeez. Don't even get me started on that stupid mascot. Anyways, Lana, we got one last game to talk
Yeah,
about.
we got Midnight Fight Express comes out Tuesday for PS4 or today for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Your babyface, a former member of the criminal underworld, lured back into the life by a mysterious AI drone. Your mission, against impossible odds, fight your way across the city before sunrise and prevent a citywide criminal takeover together.
Listen, you video game developers got to be stopped, man. Like these names that you're like, it's okay to just use normal names. I don't know. JT, you got any thoughts before we go to break? This is absurd.
This sounds like the plot of a future Purge movie.
Yeah, Shrek 2. Hey guys, we'll be back here on the morning bus. When we come back, we got some entertainment news, and Isaiah's got to get something off his chest.
Text
no.
and work. Text and pretend to work.
Oh.
Text and act surprised when
Guess who's back? It's us here at the morning buzz. And it's me, Lana, and JT too. This is oh god. Imagine if we actually had a theme song like that. That would be
That was,
hilarious.
that was a good start to the theme song.
It
I
was.
like
It sounded
You
very
would've
much
gotta
like we were a
Start
cartoon.
and then gave up. Like, I don't know, I can do this.
No, I could have, but it was just gonna get worse. But hey, album coming out soon. No, I'm kidding. Hey, listen. Listen, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but I this has been bothering me. This has been quite annoying to me. And now it is time for indeed Isaiah's L of the Day, and that belongs to the people of Rolling Stones. That's right, the magazine creating mayo overlords caught the side eye and anger of people all over the world, and especially on Twitter. Now, these cornstarch critters did the unthinkable. They recently put Harry Styles on the cover of their UK magazine. Now, that itself, hey, unproblematic. Do I think he's a little bit overrated? Do I think him being labeled as breaking barriers is just the media feeding us some cheese? Absolutely. Now, considering, the confines of his own community, they've been doing that kind of stuff for years, excuse me. So wearing a dress is nothing new, man. Now, I got that. This is not an attack on Harry Styles, all right? Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man. You live your life. But that conversation is already for another show called All the Feels. A very handsome host. Sundays at 9 a.m., Thursdays at 12. Now, once again, I want to stress him being on the cover, perfectly fine. Put him on every cover. I don't care. The problem lies with Rolling Stones labeling Harry Styles the new king of pop. Comparing Harry Styles to Michael Jackson is like comparing Michael Jordan to that local 56-year-old man shooting hoops at the local YMCA. It's just silly, mad disrespectful to the icon that still is and was Michael Jackson. I mean, did the Rolling Stones forget that Michael Jackson was creating hit songs that played worldwide since the age of 5, that he broke racial barriers and even revolutionized the music industry? Now, I want to officially award the people at Rolling Stones the fattest L of the day. Guys, am I tripping or is this insane?
No. You're
Thank
very
you.
right.
Thank you.
That's Michael Jackson's title, and nobody can take it.
I'm scared to approach my opinions on Harry Styles because of his
JT, let them fly, man. Listen, I've done a couple shows with you, and I feel like you're holding JT back. Just let it out, man. Listen, I struggled with that a little bit too. When I was on the buzz early on, I was like, I don't want to let my opinions, get too crazy. But then one day I was like, you know what?
No,
Let
it's
me
not
speak
that.
my gospel.
I just have, FCC.
Hey, I got the dumb button right here. I'm good for at least one cursor.
No, I'm straight. But one term that I used once, and I used it very lightly, was I said something along the lines of, Harry Styles is fighting all the gender norms. And unfortunately, the gender norms are winning when he fights them. I have seen very successful battles against gender norms. But something about Harry Styles frolicking on stage trying to look like Dorothy, he didn't do it right. And that was my thing. And I felt very tentative to approach that because I didn't want it to come off the wrong way. I will show up in a skirt one day and be perfectly fine. But something about a Sasquatch dressed like Dorothy terrified me.
Wow. Hey, I'm glad you're letting your opinions be heard, JT. All right.
It was like, you know what? You do you. It's a losing battle, but hey, I support it. And I think I said that one time, and this girl gave me a look, and I'm like, I'm sorry if I upset your father. I'll shut up now.
My thing is this, though. It's like him doing what he's doing. Like his music is fine. I'm not gonna hate on it. Like to me, it's a little generic. I'm not gonna lie. It's just normal kind of pop music. My problem is like where everyone thinks that he is doing like this world groundbreaking thing, but it's like that's already been done. Men have been wearing heels. Men have been wearing dresses. Men have been wearing skirts. They've been kind of playing with that feminine kind of look and style since like I've been alive. I've been around for like 80 years compared to you guys. I mean, Prince was doing it. I mean, even more recently, Lil Nas X is like really like doubled down on that. I mean, I don't know. What he's doing seems very vanilla compared to what Lil Nas has been doing. And that's my personal opinion. That could go in many different directions as well. I mean, come on, that was clever wordplay. I ain't gonna lie. Anyways, I feel like Cornstarch Critters was great, everyone. Anyways, now let's talk about a little bit more news in the entertainment world. Once again, let's stop comparing people to Michael Jackson. All right, it's just
Please.
it's different.
Michael Jackson is a legacy.
It's
you
just
can't
different,
compare.
man. You just
I remember
can't.
they sparked a whole like controversy comparing Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, and Chris literally had to go on public record and go, "Nah, I don't condone this."
See, now that to me though was like a different argument. That was like not even like comparing their level of fame or anything. It was just like who was more skilled, I think, was the conversation. Because they're both kind of like really good dancers, really good singers. Obviously, Michael Jackson. But it's like I kind of understood the actual conversation that people were having. This one is just ridiculous. And you know what's even funnier though? Like I found this hilarious, but also it's very bad. So obviously, Michael Jackson, black man, and in the UK and Europe, Black History Month for them is in October. So having to like take a title away from a black man and give it to a white man on Black History Month for y'all,
Ooh.
that don't look good. Knows her. Anyways, let's talk about New Jersey. It is New Jersey, y'all? Is Fetty Wap from New Jersey, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's from.
All right, cool. Rapper Fetty Wap has admitted to his role in a multi-million-dollar drug trafficking ring and pleaded guilty in Long Island federal court yesterday in exchange for a minimum 5 years in federal prison. William Jr. Maxwell II could have faced life in prison after he was charged last October for conspiring to bring the more than 100 kilos of heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine from the West Coast to the East for sale in New Jersey and Long Island. Now, Mr. Fetty, Mr. Wap, Mr. Maxwell Jr. the second, don't want to say the third. What are you doing, man? Like, my thing is this: like, if you're already making money off of music, like that's when you can kind of like ditch the drug dealing life.
It wasn't.
Like, I mean, you were once again, you had that one hit, it was popping, man. I feel like you could have transitioned into like more music. That seems like kind of the next step. Am I like Fetty Wap? Come on, man.
Couple of things about that. Number one, people overestimate the amount musicians make on music themselves.
That's also true, yeah.
Musicians don't make their money off of the music themselves. I think there's only a few. Like Drake is like one of the few that can like say, yeah, I make money off the music myself because he's got billions of streams a song. It takes like 100,000 views to make $5 on one song. So think about that for a second. Fetty Wap has kind of fell off. Most artists make their money through shows, through appearances, through sponsorships, kind of the way and social media influencer does.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, a lot of people get it confused that it's easy to let go of thug life. Air quotes around that. It's not. It's very not. If you were doing it before, it is very hard to get out of it. And especially once you start falling off, that's why we start seeing a lot of things happen to washed up celebrities because the life they lived before the fame ends up coming back for them.
Not the washed up celebrities.
I heard this happened to Fetty Wap. I was like, oh, matter of time. I also don't believe that life in jail was necessary. I don't believe. While I do understand that there's a drug problem and needs to be addressed, I feel that certain people, Derek Chauvin, get way less time for way more heinous crimes, and we've got people facing and or serving decades of time in prison for, oh yeah, he was about to sell drugs to somebody who was about to buy drugs from him. So we're going to give him life. But that's just me. That does explain why everybody's been seeing Fetty Wap all over New Jersey in the past recent months.
That does explain a lot. Now,
I saw Fetty Wap all. I'm like, he must know he's going away.
I looked it up because I was curious, like, where in New Jersey he's from. He's from Patterson.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. New Jersey's own, man.
Mhm.
Shout out to Patterson. But very quickly, JT, 100 kilos. I did some math. Shout out to Google for saving me. Helped me get through Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. 100 kilos to pounds is 220 pounds. Now, 220 pounds of cocaine, heroin, like that's I feel like that's pretty normal. But once you get to 200 pounds of fentanyl, that is insane, by the way. Also very curious. There's a Florida man story that we didn't do on the show that I heard about the other day. And it's very interesting compared to this situation because he had enough fentanyl to kill over 1,000 people on him. And he was trying to sell cocaine to a Florida like government official. And he texted him, he's like, hey, you want cocaine? And they're like, this is wild. Does he actually believe we're going to do it? So they set up like a fake thing. And then he actually was going there to meet up at a pond, mind you, and give the guy his cocaine. Obviously, the deal didn't go through, but then they found what he had. And just the fact that he had over 1,000 pounds or up to he could kill over 1,000 people with that amount of fentanyl that he had is absolutely insane. Now, compared to this one, where at one point, Fetty Wap could have had life in jail, right? Now, I want you to guess how much this guy could have faced right now.
Oh no. Something about the way you proposed that lets me know not nearly as much.
Yeah. So at that time, it was like 3 months. And then he was also let out on bail for like, I think around $3,000 or something like that. Now, if someone has the ability to kill over 1,000 people, I don't think bail should be that affordable. Nor do I think that the punishment should be that low. Now, I must ask you one final question, JT. What race was he?
Sounds about white to me.
That is absolutely correct. Now, do I think that could possibly play into that kind of scenario on why the kind of punishments were very different from both sides? Perhaps. Do I also think that maybe that he got a little bit less because he was 18 years old? Could be. Now, I just think it's something to think about when you hear these stories about how punishments are handed out a little bit differently.
I understand fentanyl is dangerous. Don't get it twisted. I'm not sitting here saying people shouldn't face consequences for literally feeding people poison.
Here
And
on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
no, I do not support deliberately giving people poison. However, what I am saying is that in America specifically, we see men facing life in jail for selling poison. Mind you, selling, which means that somebody on the other hand had to buy it, which meant that it was voluntary. And then there are people involuntarily taking lives in other ways, and I don't just mean murder. So many more heinous crimes like Law and Order SVU type crimes. And it's just like, yeah, they're facing 15 years, but this almost sold some drugs to that guy on the corner. We're going to make sure he knows we're going to put him away for 50 plus. It just doesn't really make sense to moi.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the time doesn't match the crime. But that does it here for us here at the Morning Buzz. It was a great ride. Thank you, JT, for coming through in the second half of our show. We appreciate the work you do. This is the last show for me and Lana together this summer edition of the Morning Buzz. Lana, your work has been tremendously appreciated, and it has been a pleasure, Lana.
It's been a pleasure to be on air with you, Isaiah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be back at some point, Lana.
That's true.
But for the Summer Buzz, for Tuesday edition, we bid you farewell.
Wait, does this mean that this time next week it'll be full-time Buzz?
Nah, it'll be breaky Buzz. Yeah, let a brother have a break, man. All right, come on. Jeez. Jeez, man. Anyways, tomorrow it's gonna be Lara, the pigeon-loving Amanda, which I learned that very disturbing. I don't know who loves pigeons, but that needs to be talked about. The odds of Amanda hearing this or Lara hearing this probably very low. But if you don't start the show talking about pigeons tomorrow, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. So if you are hearing this, talk about pigeons somehow within the first 2 minutes. That is gonna be the test. Either way, they'll be here tomorrow, and then Thursday it will be me, Joe, and indeed Terry. Also, Ashley's on Wednesday. I forgot. Sorry, Ashley. Anyways, y'all, adios.
Hello, listeners.